The Zack Snyder Cut is finally real, Ruby Rose is exiting Catwoman, and Mafia Trilogy Remaster is coming out. That and more on today's episode of FEN. Welcome everybody to today's episode of FEN, the show where I provide you the best entertainment news of the week that just was. Today's a bit of a special episode because I'm wearing my robe because it's freezing cold in Australia right now. So please do excuse the unprofessionalism by filming an entire news show in my pajamas. First up, we've got some movie news. After an incredibly long fan campaign called #ReleaseTheSnyderCut, Snyder's version of Justice League is finally coming out. During a screening of Man of Steel that Zack Snyder held for his fans, he got questions asking when is the famous Snyder Cut gonna come out, because he's been teasing it for months, and the fans have been crying and rallying to get this happening. And during that screening, he dropped the news that the Zack Snyder version of Justice League is coming to HBO Max, the American HBO streaming service, in 2021. For those of you unfamiliar with this story from before, Zack Snyder, who was directing the 2017 movie Justice League, had to step down from the project after some personal tragedy struck his family. The studio stepped in, Joss Whedon took over, and the movie we got as an end result isn't exactly the best thing in the world. It also sparked the famous, removing Henry Cavill's mustache with CGI thing, which is just mind-boggling to me how they can do that. A trailer for this version is apparently in the works and will release very, very soon. There's also been talks about whether this will be a 4-hour director's cut version of the movie, so it's a very, very long project, or if they're going to release it as a TV series and cut it into 40-minute episodes, basically. And it seems like a lot of the reason HBO and Warner Brothers agreed to this deal was that they liked the appeal of having an HBO mini-series focused on the Justice League with cliffhangers and stuff like that to debut on their new streaming service. Personally, I'm really excited to see this version, not because I think it's going to be amazing or incredibly good, because I've seen the other Zack Snyder DC movies, and although I like Man of Steel, I feel like Batman v Superman, it's good for what it's trying to do, but that movie suffers from a few things that I'm kind of worried that this movie will also suffer from. But the thing is, I can't imagine it being any worse than what we got in 2017. I feel like this is an interesting experiment too, because it kind of sets a standard going forward. I feel like a lot of fan campaigns are going to happen more often now. I've seen Release the David Ayer cut. I've seen Bring Back Daredevil. I've seen all these things come back now because this happened, because they finally caved in and decided to release it. It's great for Zack Snyder. It's great for the fans. Although I'm a little bit scared as to what this means for the future, because there was a lot of bullying and toxic behavior associated with this campaign, and I kind of wish that that wasn't the case. But hopefully we'll see a more positive outlook on this in the future going forward. The brand new movie from Christopher Nolan called Tenet is releasing very, very soon into cinemas, pretty much as soon as cinemas open, they say. And they released a new trailer the other day, which features some mind-boggling visuals and a story that does not seem to make any sense right now, with a cool time travel mechanic. The release date currently is July 17th, so we don't really know if it'll actually happen. Apparently Warner Brothers is looking at a 17th of July release date currently, although they don't know if they will actually meet that release date, simply because they would need about 80% of the world's theaters to be open for this movie to do well. And 80% of theaters in a world suffering from a pandemic is gonna be a problem. I don't think that's very likely to happen. So either they release it and just, run with the punches, or they wait even longer, which I feel like that's probably what they're gonna end up doing. But the trailer is exciting. You should check it out for yourself. There's a link in the description along with all my other sources that you can click on. For a very long time, there's been rumors of a Furiosa Mad Max prequel movie. Furiosa, of course, is a character from Mad Max Fury Road that George Miller is now spinning off and having as her own character in a movie. Both Jodie Comer from Killing Eve and Anya Taylor-Johnson are in the running for the role, apparently. And now it's been reported that John Seal, the semi-retired cinematographer who did the last Mad Max movie, is returning to work on this project. Now, of course, no release date is in mind at the moment, especially with all this pandemic stuff. People don't really talk about that. But I'm hopeful that this will be an exciting movie and a welcome addition to the Mad Max universe. I'm excited to see George Miller return to directing. And now for television news. Ruby Rose, who played Batwoman in CW's Batwoman TV series, is officially parting ways with the show after just one season. Now, the show will apparently continue to run on television with a season 2 already in the works, but that would mean that they have to recast the actor. Now, there have been many speculations about why she decided to quit the series, but apparently the most correct response we've heard so far comes from Variety, which reports that apparently she did not like the very long work hours that came with working on a network television show. The show has, of course, also met with a lot of fan backlash, citing the writing not to be very good, and also her in the role was not exactly met with a very positive outlook. So I can see that a lot of this may be because of online bullying or something that she decided to also leave. I think there are many factors. Apparently she had an incident on set where she injured herself as well. So I think there are a lot of things that kind of boiled up and ended up in this discussion. She's also been in Hollywood movies and probably wants to continue doing that. So I can see that her stepping away from this might be good for her career at this present time. But of course, it remains to be seen what they do with this TV show going forward. If they simply recast the actor and pretend like nothing happened, blame it on Crisis on Infinite Earths, or do anything else, come up with some weird comics explanation. It's been done before, so hey, why not? John Krasinski has been busy on YouTube lately because he's been making for 8 weeks a YouTube series called Some Good News, where he would scavenge the internet for good news that happened in this world. Many people, including myself, really liked the show that he put together. It was an uplifting show and very heartfelt show in a time where such a thing is especially needed. Now he has sold the rights to Viacom CBS, which means they will be making the Some Good News program on television. Many fans are very upset about this because it means they will put the show behind a paywall, but also I think many people don't understand that John Krasinski is a very busy man, and now that this pandemic is opening up again in Hollywood, he will go back to do Hollywood things, which means he most likely won't have time to do this YouTube show. A part of this deal also includes that he will not be a part of the hosting. I mean, he'll serve as an executive producer on the show, but they will get someone else in to fill that role. Personally, I think this is a bit sketchy. I mean, I like that there is going to be a good news show. I thought his idea for that was perfect, and it's exactly what we need. But I find a lot of the charm and the appeal of the show was that he was filming it in his house, and it was a very low-key production that felt very much like a YouTube series. And you know, it's very special. It's like me doing this. It's something kind of cozy about it, which means you can sit in your pajamas and film a video and no one's really going to care. And I feel like if they put this on CBS, they put it behind a paywall and they'll make it more professional, which it doesn't need to be, you know? So it remains to be seen how this deal will pay out. I'm glad that he got some money for it. I am sad to hear that he, you know, is no longer going to be a part of the hosting himself, which probably means I won't be watching it anymore, but who knows. And now for gaming news. Game director Stuart Tilley from Firesprite is saying in an interview that he thinks this next generation of consoles' choice of SSD will make game development much better. The reason for this is now that you have SSDs in these brand new consoles that are coming this holiday, you can actually load your games really fast. You can have really quick load times. Maybe you won't even have loading screens anymore. Who knows? He says that the reason this is so exciting is that now that you have really fast SSDs, you won't have a lot of loading screens, which means they can implement features that otherwise would require a lot of loading without that being the case. This means more features can happen in video games and less things can be ignored. And me personally, I'm really looking forward to really quick loading times. It's something that is really annoying to have on the PlayStation 4. I mean, I know some people have modded theirs to include an SSD inside of their PlayStation, for example. But I think it'll really improve the experience. And the fact that these game developers are coming out and saying, yes, we approve this message and it means better games. Hey, I'm all for that. The Mafia Trilogy has officially been revealed as the next game series to get an HD remaster. Both Mafia 2, the definitive edition, and a little bit of an updated version of Mafia 3 are already released as of right now. You can go out and buy those. But if you want the first game in the series, you are going to have to wait until August when that game launches in a complete remake. Now, the first game is obviously the oldest, and they've decided to remake it completely from scratch with enhanced visuals and 4K capability. Now, the upgrades to the second and third game aren't as significant as the first one, but it's still a nice addition that they have spiced up the visuals a little bit, and that you can play this whole trilogy now in one collected package. I'm pretty keen to check out this first game in this series to see what they've done with the game. Platinum Games has reassured everyone that Bayonetta 3 is still coming out. The game has not been cancelled or nothing bad has happened to it. They're simply still in development. Now, the Bayonetta series is something that I'm quite excited to play. I haven't really started playing them, but I really admire what they do with that series, and I know it has a lot of fans. And Bayonetta 3 was supposed to come out on the Switch very, very soon. Now, because of this whole pandemic, we don't really know what the release dates are, but it's looking very likely that the game might even come out in 2021. Personally, I'm excited to check them all out, and hopefully we can have some fun times on the Switch. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was all the news we have for you here today. If you have any comments for the news articles that we've talked about, feel free to leave a little comment so we can talk about it further. There are also links in the description for all the sources that I've used in this video. Now, my name has been Thomas, this has been FEN, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for watching this entertainment news show. I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you hopefully next week. Bye bye.